and gentlemen, I hope you are having a fantastic day. If you're new to the channel, my name is Parker Narenstein, this is Vehicle Virgins, and this is a Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, and not just any SVJ, an SVJ 6.3, not just any 6.3, a really special one, which I'll talk about more in a bit. So what is the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ? It is the most powerful, fastest around the Nürburgring car that Lamborghini currently makes. Why does it have a 63 on it? What does that mean? Well, for one, they only made 63 of them. I believe around 20, only 20 are in the United States. And why the number? Well, Lamborghini was actually founded in 1963. So it was a big deal for this car to wear a badge like this, and it's the last naturally aspirated V12 Lamborghini with no hybrid powertrain. This is the ultimate representation of the automobile in its purest form. It's raw, it's loud, it's angry, and honestly, in today's design world where things are confusing, maybe they're too complex, I think they nailed it with the design of this. I don't know anyone who doesn't take a look at this and go, that is freaking awesome. So we're gonna start with the front, then we're gonna go around to the back side. Now, on the front of the car, there's so much going on, yet at the same time, they kind of hide it. So it's simple, yet when you dig deeper, it's actually really genius. So a lot of people, when it came out, they go, what is this? It looks like a mustache. Why does it have a mustache? Well, it's because air passes through here for aerodynamic efficiency, creating more downforce in the car. Now, the biggest thing with this car is they've taken technology that they learned with the Huracan Performante. Now the Performante at one given time was actually the record holder for the Nürburgring. It was faster than the Holy Trinity, the P1, the LaFerrari, the 918 with the Huracan Performante. And then they come in and Porsche takes the record with the GT2 RS, and Lamborghini goes, okay, we'll come out with this thing, and then sets the fastest time in the world on the Nürburgring of 6 minutes, 44.9 seconds. There is no faster car. Sure, some race cars, but for a road legal car, it's never been beaten. Name a car there. It's the official record. It's actually unbelievable that, well, the 63 edition costs more because of its rarity. If you just get the normal one, it's the same car. The fact that it's able to get the same lap time as something that costs 4 times as much, those hypercars, is unbelievable. Now, why is that possible? Well, a bunch of different things. One, aerodynamics. This has Lamborghini's ALA system, Aerodynamica Lamborghini Attiva. What does that mean? It's active aerodynamics. So if you look really close, it's actually got all these flaps. We'll go ahead and push this down here, and they're actually electronic. Now, if you want more downforce, it allows the flaps to go a certain way, and if you want less drag, the flaps go a certain way. I mean, the complexity of all this for cooling, for the brakes, for the radiators, for the aerodynamics is absolutely incredible. Then we'll come around to the side of the car. I mean, there's obviously some touches that they did on the 63 edition to make it more special because, well, currently available until they come out with their new hypercar, this is the most special Lamborghini that you could possibly buy. Of course, only official SVJ 6.3s have 63 on it. I've noticed a couple people put the 63 on there, but you can tell when one's real and one's not. It's kind of like, just don't do that. Don't put a fake M badge on an M car. You can take the badges off, but don't put ones that it isn't. Down to the detail of the headlights. I mean, we've got all of these different patterns that Lamborghini uses throughout their history. I mean, this Y-shaped pattern, you see those that show up all over the car, and then the individual little lights there look so cool. I mean, daytime running lights are these little dots. Imagine if you made those a different color, that'd be pretty cool. The SVJ 6.3 is the only SVJ that you can get with a carbon fiber roof. If you wanted to get a normal SVJ, you can't get this option. And there's no way you could do it aftermarket. What, you're gonna cut the top off of it and put a new one on? I guess you could wrap it in 3M, but no one's wrapping 3M on a $600,000 car. This one, MSRP new, was $748,000. So it was a significant premium over the SVJ, but at the end of the day, you're getting a much more rare car. They overproduced, in a sense, the SVJ. Now, I don't blame them. They sold out instantly. People wanted them. Why would they not sell more? But then, for the select few, they were able to come up with this where I believe there's literally only 20 in the United States. Of course, we've got the black mirrors. Now, if you look really close, in through here, it's cool that they put it in the interior, and you really have to look carefully. It says 1D63, so it's one of 63 in the world. And I love the little touches that you can see from the outside of the car, like it says Sensonum on the interior. You can see the beautiful gold contrasted stitching that matches this kind of bronze rose gold finish on the wheels. Now, you'll notice, this is race car technology, guys. We've got center locks. These aren't normal 5 lug nuts. This is a center lock that takes a ridiculous amount of torque to take off and then put back on. Why? So that the wheels don't fly off when you're going 217 miles an hour on the racetrack. And also, it's much quicker. It's only one thing to take off when you're on a race car instead of 5 different things. That's pretty cool. And I just love the detail. Look, we've got the Y pattern again that was in the headlights, but in the wheels themselves. Of course, carbon ceramic brakes. Of course, we've also got the 63 on the side. And if you really look, I mean, the details you can find in this car, I actually could stare at this all day long, and I'm probably going to do that because we got a side skirt here that has a little gap for airflow, and then another carbon fiber side skirt down here, and the biggest radiator I've ever seen in my entire life in the side of the car. I mean, they had a big one for the Aventador, but then for the Aventador S and then the SVJ again, they just made it massive. Obviously, we got a 6.5 liter V12 back there making 770 horsepower. It's the most powerful Lamborghini they've ever made. It's just actually unbelievable that they packed that into not a hypercar, into a supercar. And then this adds exclusivity, of course, with the 63. And it begs the question, is the SVJ 63 a hypercar when you look at the LaFerrari where they made 499 of them? Well, they only made 63 of this. And if it's faster around the track than a LaFerrari, and it's more rare, I understand the LaFerrari is beautiful. I understand it's a hybrid, but if it's slower and less rare, why is it more expensive? Actually, I'd love you guys to answer that question. I'm actually not really sure. This car, if you look at it that way, is like a heck of a good value for the money. We've got vents in here, we've got vents and a door, a Aventador, I guess. We've got beautiful SVJ on the side. You can get it as an option without it. It's actually absurdly expensive to get it with it on. I looked at the options list. It's just classic. I guess when you're spending this much, they just assume that we'll just make options cost proportional to the car. The garage door opener option, $700. Like $700 for a garage door opener? That I don't get. That I don't get. Carbon fiber everywhere. I mean, the engine bay is a freaking work of art. I mean, I'm not saying that it's as spectacular as a Pagani. It's not, but it doesn't get that much better. I mean, the ability to see into the engine, the amount of vents for cooling to let the hot air radiate off the engine to make sure stuff doesn't get too hot, it doesn't heat soak. This massive rear wing that's stationary, that has the active ALA system that allows air to flow through it, changing downforce levels as well as reducing drag. Then of course, down here, of course, we were also blocked by this spectacular Maybach G-Wagon. I didn't expect to show up to the dealership and have not one, but 2 Maybach G-Wagons. Okay, that's freaking awesome. You don't see these every day. I've only seen 1 in my life, and now there's 2 right here. The car is genuinely a race car for the street. I mean, the fact that it got the world's fastest Nürburgring lap time, and it borrows so many elements, both design language-wise and physical hardware from race cars. We've got a stationary rear wing. If you note, as cool as, and I think it's, you know, might be cooler to have active aero. It's not legal in racing, so they've got a stationary rear wing. But they've got around that, the wing itself doesn't have to move, but the air can be controlled via this ALA system. We've got these massive vents that allow air to pass through here and kind of bypass causing turbulent airflow and downforce from the rear wing that can exit and cause laminar flow is what it's called. So smooth air instead of turbulent air to reduce drag. I didn't think I would have ever said that word after leaving mechanical engineering, but there you go. Insane rear diffuser. I mean, it doesn't get crazier than that. Massive piece of carbon fiber. Of course, also borrowing in a sense from the Performante is instead of one center exhaust down lower, we've got two exhausts in the middle. Now, why do they do that? One, massive grill to allow for more cooling. Hot air exits the engine as well as around the exhaust and the catalytic converters. But two, if it's up here, that means there's no interruption in the rear diffuser. So we've got more downforce from the rear diffuser. It's a more effective layout. You notice a lot of companies are doing this now, and then of course with the Senna and the 918 and the 600 LT, they're putting them up on the top, so there was even more space for all of the aerodynamic elements. Apparently that was a big design challenge, so a lot of manufacturers are backing away from it because it's not necessary, but come on. If the exhaust pipes came out of here, like a rocket ship, that would definitely be one step cooler. I don't know how hard that would be. That would be a modification. How do you open this? It's like a race car yet again. There's no button you click that pops look, you gotta put a key in and then you freaking unlatch it on both sides like a race car. I mean, it's just unbelievable. I'm just looking at this car, I'm blown away. You know it's a special car when you can't stop looking at it. If you walk away from your car and you don't look back at it, no matter the value. The M5 to me was the ultimate representation of a purist car at the time. In 2000, it was a manual V8 sedan. I mean, how does that make sense? It's got a massive V8 and a manual, and it's raw and it's loud in a family car. It doesn't make sense, but that's why it's such an enthusiast buy, and that's why it's one of my favorite cars of all time, still to this day. This car, same thing. It's freaking the ultimate purest form of a supercar, a race car, and it's got a naturally aspirated V12, and it's got a single clutch gearbox. So let's go ahead and hop on the inside. I'll talk more about that. I mean, guys, I can't stop smiling looking at this car. It's a special one, that's for sure. So, I mean, I've never owned a Lamborghini with the doors that went up. Why? Because when the Aventador came out, I thought that the Huracan drove better. And then this car came out, and they used learnings from the Huracan because it was a newer gen car than the Aventador, and they made this one of the best driving cars of all time. Is it super light and super nimble? No. But is it the fastest around the track? Yes. So who cares what it weighs and how much horsepower it has? It won. I mean, it did. So we're gonna go ahead and step into one of the sexiest interiors ever. I mean, look at this. Ambient backlit Aventador logo with carbon fiber. I mean, there's not a single thing in here that's not leather, Alcantara, or carbon fiber. The door strap to pull the door down is leather. I mean, weight saving, so you don't have a big latch and all that, and it just looks classy. Of course, we've got the fighter jet ignition start-stop button here, so you pull that up and then you turn this beast on, which of course we'll do later, probably not in the dealership. And I mean, the seats, the contrast, look, there's the Y pattern again, SVJ, contrasted gold, embossed headrests. I mean, wait, I didn't even notice this. I've never noticed this before. Maybe it's an SVJ specific thing. We've got Alcantara up here, but here in the center is leather with an outline in this beautiful, beautiful rose gold. I mean, that is so cool. The steering wheel is exactly how I would have made a steering wheel, to be honest. I talk a lot about Alcantara causing your hands to, you know, sweat a bit. Now, they're good with racing gloves for sure, but for a street car, at the end of the day, the majority of the people are going to be driving this on the street. Would I take this to the track if this was my car? You bet I would take it to the track a lot. But we've got the perforated leather. Now, why is it perforated? It allows your hands to sweat less. It's perforated leather, and you got a better grip on the steering wheel than you would with this really soft Alcantara that actually wears really easily. That's kind of the biggest thing. If you treat it very well and you are a detailer, and then the Alcantara lasts and you can rejuvenate it. But the leather is just strong. It's like it's strong like a bull. Hence Lamborghini's logo. This thing is the bull of the car world, legitimately. Now we'll go ahead and turn on the power. Yeah, it sounds like a fighter jet starting up. All the fans are, I mean, what? Are you serious? Like, I actually didn't know. I've never turned on an SVJ. Have flip. I've never done that before. So that's a new thing for me. That is freaking awesome. Now look at the dash. I mean, we're talking about fighter jets. Are you kidding me? If we go ahead and put it into Corsa mode, look at this. I mean, that is as much of a fighter jet. We've got G-forces, a G-force meter. Why do you have that? Why not? You've got post and ant, I guess, anterior, posterior, related to the ALA system. So this actually shows you a live view of how the air flows through the car and how it's actually actively working. Of course, we've got the miles per hour down here, but it's really small. You notice how fast you're going is irrelevant on the racetrack as long as you're winning. What's important is what gear you're in, look how big that is, and what RPM you're at. That's the only thing you're focusing on in your peripherals as you're looking straight on the road. You don't want to be looking down at all. That's why it's in your face, the font is massive, and that way you can be focused on driving. This car is all about driving. Does it make sense? Not really, but if you love driving, if you love cars, well then it makes all the sense in the world. It's the fastest, it's freaking spectacular. It's a work of art. It's literally a rolling work of art that also happens to be really fast. So I guess if you like took the Mona Lisa and you like threw it really fast, that it would be, that's a horrible analogy. Anyways, moving on. We've got a bunch of switch gear here, and then this is what I love. So they design a lot of this based off of airplanes, right? All of the switch gear is up here. We've got the window switches. We've got the front lift, which is mandatory. Guys, never get a car this expensive without a front lift. You do not want to damage your front bumper. The lift option is always expensive, but it's a lot less expensive than replacing your front bumper. Traction control, it's easy to find, so you can turn it off. Then, of course, you've got the mode switching. That's super simple. So Strada, Sport, Corsa, and Ego. Ego in Italian is like, well, it's hilariously ironic, but it's like individual, so you can set it however you want. I guess that has to do with Ego. Set it exactly the way you would like. Customize the settings. Of course, you've got the infotainment, very, very simple. And what's nice is, despite this being a quote-unquote race car for the road, look at this. We've got a massive digital display with decent graphics. So guys, it's so simple to use. That's something missing in a lot of cars, simplicity, right? Look how easy, coming home, leaving home, auto headlights. And then if you're confused, where do you go? Look, there's a return key, like a keyboard. You just click return. Then you can go ahead and do, let's see what Lamborghini Ego, this is the customizable settings. Powertrain, why would we not do Corsa? Of course we would. Steering, maybe you want to do suspension in comfort mode because you're on the street and it already rides very intensely. It's a very intense sports car, but you want the powertrain and the steering to be as quick and responsive as possible, but maybe you don't want your butt to hurt or you're doing a long drive. If I was doing a long drive, I'd probably do this because after a while, like it gets tiresome, but I want the steering and the powertrain to be in the most intense setting because that's just how I like it. I want the car to be as fast, responsive, and quick as possible. Look at that. Almost all Lamborghini logos are usually in silver, and this one is in gloss black. It's just gorgeous. The doors, they shave a lot of weight. They're fully carbon fiber. I mean, those are spectacular. And I just look, you look over your shoulder and you just see one of the most beautiful V12s in the world. Can you see visibility wise? Actually, looking at the rear view mirror, it's not terrible. There's so much open space, and they made the wing in a way so that the wing doesn't actually block your view of the road. You can actually see backwards. I imagine when you put it into reverse, there's a backup camera, but of course the car is not on right now. The one thing that was kind of confusing to me is that although the P1 is a spectacular car, it's epic. It's a hypercar. It's part of the Holy Trinity for a reason. But look at all the amenities you get with this that you don't get in those Holy Trinity cars. Amazing screens, unbelievable upgraded speaker system, backup cameras, visibility is incredible. One thing that scared me about the P1, and this is not a deal breaker, but a car that expensive with no backup camera, obviously I can back the car up, you know, looking over my shoulder, but something that valuable, why was there no backup camera? A solution to that, I guess if you own a P1, of course, you can do the license plate frame backup cameras, hardwire it, but it just seems like, I know it's a race car, you're only going forwards, you're not going backwards, but it's a street car. So you're gonna have to back up, and you don't wanna back it up into another one of your cars or somebody else's car. It'll just be a huge problem. Let's go ahead and hop out. I don't really wanna get out of this car, to be honest. I wanna live in it. I've decided I want to live in this car. I'm just going to, that's where, this is yeah, just gonna live here. Close this. So this is a nice sturdy sound. Everything about this car is quality. All right, I'll be honest guys, like, yeah, doors that go up, does that really add anything? No, but like, kind of makes getting out of it epic. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Obviously, we're gonna get this car inspected just as the P1 is being inspected right now. Hopefully, they both come out clear. I mean, you think I don't want this car or P1? Obviously I do. Thank you so much for all the positive feedback. It means a lot seeing you guys actually enjoying my videos again. Seriously, guys, it's awesome. New updates every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. No matter what, it's always coming Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Next week, new merchandise. It's freaking awesome. I'm just excited for the future of this channel, and I hope you guys are excited too and are enjoying the direction we're headed. As always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.